We're Judy Chicago, and you're watching TV with Judy Chicago.
And Judy Chicago. And Bands on Demand.
I'd say our music is just an ongoing project in trying to have as much fun as possible, and at the same time be a little bit artistic. It's kind of like a big lump of hedonism with a lot of messages stuck in it, like cake, with shards of stuff, like politics and satire and obscenity and things like that. Not for its own sake, but just to try and add a little spice to it.
One of us will usually write a lick or something, or we'll sit down and literally just like play some keyboards for an hour until we find something like, oh, that's cool. And then from there we just, whatever comes naturally.
Yeah, it's very impulsive. We throw everything in there, and then normally it's a process of an initial idea, and we'll have some idea of what we want it to sound like. It normally won't come out sounding that way, but we're like, let's write a song that sounds like an old house tune from the mid-80s or something like that. So we'll get some of the right technology to do that, and then just fool around on stuff for an hour and a half, and then eventually strip it back down again, and then think about what we want to do with the words. So we're getting better at writing pop songs. We're making an effort to write choruses and verses and have them in the right order and things like that, because that's quite fun.
Yeah. Just like I'm a big keyboard nerd, we got a bunch of old analog synthesizers at home. The live set's a little more beer proof, so we can just like kick it down a flight of stairs and won't be too sad if it breaks. But running a laptop which runs an audio program with a lot of our effects and things that we do live, and a lot of the music that we have prepared. But the important thing to us is that we play everything. Nothing's like sequenced in the sense where you sit down and click and move squares. Like all the keyboard lines, everything's played by hand. Of course the drums, on the ones that aren't live drums, the drums are sequenced, but everything else we try to keep as live as possible and as human as possible.
We're looking at branching out, maybe getting a percussionist or a drummer into the show. We played some really eye-opening shows with some other bigger bands, like Data Rock were here about a month ago. We played with them, and they have an incredibly fun live show, and a lot of that is based around the fact they take on a couple of extra musicians and play live.
Well, a lot of musicians have said as well that are used to, especially like in Europe where it's more accepted to be an electronic act and like DJ an event with a couple thousand people. They're like, when we tour the States, they bring a full band because it's just a kind of, that's what people expect when they go out to see a show.
It's not about credibility. A lot of people find it hard to think you're a real band if you don't have a guitar or something like that, and I couldn't give less of a crap what people think about that. But if it makes people have more fun,
right,
then it's worth doing. Because we want it to be an inclusive party when we play. We want everyone to have fun. And generally the only people who don't are stiffs. Normally it's boring men who don't like our shows. And I don't care whether they're there or not. I mean, we're definitely not just saying a load of stupid crud to get a cheap laugh. We're trying to make it as interesting as possible. So there's things to scratch away at, behind the little shorts and stuff like that. I want to state that again.
Wearing clothes.
Wearing small shorts is not just, oh look at me, I look like I'm a little bit gay. I want everyone to know that, because Bon Scott wore shorts like that, and no one ever thought he was just trying to look a little bit gay for a cheap laugh. So.